you read the story of our own people, you'll see that they couldn't keep his commandments. And then for us to think that we can today is arrogant, in my opinion. Oh yeah, we can keep his commandments, yet we don't even have a Beit Mikdash.
Right, because God put us into exile.
Why?
We have to try to do as many commandments that we could do in our day and try to be as close as we can to God.
I agree.
And close as we can to also his Torah and mitzvahs.
But they failed, and they broke God's bilateral covenant.
So that means that we should continue to fail?
But there was one man who didn't fail, and he offered himself as the korban, the pure,
He failed
righteous,
like literally in the most biggest way possible.
egregious way possible. How's that? What's up, everyone? I'm Jeff Morgan from Highway 53, and I am joined by my brother Golan Broshi from One for Israel. We have come together today with the passion and the desire to come to Jerusalem and help our Jewish people see who Jesus really is. And isn't it interesting, Golan, that we see throughout our Jewish people that Jesus is viewed as something foreign, as something outside, going out into a different religion?
You know, the first time documented in Jewish history, the first time you hear of a rabbi with his disciples, this is in the New Testament. And we want to bring that gospel, that good news to the Jewish people.
Well, let's go see how these conversations unfold. Come along with us. So what brought you to Israel?
So I came here to study in yeshiva
Okay,
and, to try to grow in my Judaism.
right on.
Connection to God.
That's great.
And also, have fun while we're at it also. I'm 21, at that age.
I came to Israel
get the
for my
best-
first time. When I was 25. First time actually out of the United States as well. I came here.
This is also my first time out of the United
No
States.
way. What do you think?
Amazing.
Isn't it amazing?
It's amazing.
It's a great place for a Jew to be. So you're Jewish
Yes.
and religious. Was your
Yes.
family religious?
My
parents
parents,
and-
my parents are, my grandparents, not all of them.
Okay.
Whatever, they came later on in life.
So I'm Jewish also, live in Israel. My wife is here, my sons are here. They're going to go to the army and everything, defend the country and all that stuff. But 8 years ago, I came to faith in Jesus, in Yeshua. We call him Yeshua, his Hebrew name. And what I like to do is talk to my Jewish people about what they think about him, what they know about him. What do you think about when you hear the name Jesus? What registers in your head?
So what registers in my head is I'm saying, based on the way that I was brought up, that he was, he went against the rabbis back in like about 2,000 years ago. Talmud, and then, eventually he was killed.
Yeah.
And then eventually somehow the Christian religion was started
Okay.
after that.
That's what most people know. Born in Bethlehem, raised in Nazareth.
Yeah.
Did you know that he was called rabbi? Do you know
By
he taught
who?
in synagogue?
By who?
By the Jews of the time.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah. He taught in
Cool.
synagogue, and his followers were Jewish, and he wasn't bringing a non-Jewish message to his Jewish people.
Well, honestly, the rabbis probably did think that.
Some did,
Right.
but others followed him too.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, obviously the majority didn't, but if you look at the prophets, they were rejected as well. So if we look at that, in terms of rejection, well, they didn't believe in him, they didn't follow him. Is that really the criteria that we should go on? Or does this fit the most logically with the Tanakh and scripture?
So mainly how I was taught and brought up is that Judaism is not all about logic. It's about Masorah. You know what Masorah means? It means about tradition and what was passed down all the way from God to Moses on Mount Sinai,
Right.
and passed down through the generations all the way down to us today.
Yeah.
So now anything else, even if it might make logical sense, people might think, and they base it off of this or that, we still don't follow that because we have our rabbis who learn from their rabbis, all the way a direct link all the way up to Moses and God.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I get that. That's the claim. Have you ever searched for evidence of the oral Torah and the oral tradition in the Tanakh? Evidence of it?
Well, I'm saying the oral Torah brings down sukkim and verses.
I know it
from
does
the
that,
Tanakh
but I'm
all
just
the
saying,
time.
if you look through the Tanakh itself, have you ever went to search for the oral Torah in anywhere in Jewish literature before it actually was written?
I'm not understanding fully the question.
Okay, so we have oral Torah.
Right.
We have the Gemara and the Mishnah and the Gemara, and it's written down.
Right.
Okay? But the question I have is, it was written down between 200 and 600 AD. So which means that if we look at the timeline, in terms of Jewish literature, the New Testament came hundreds of years before it.
Yeah.
So the question is,
the New Testament came before the Talmud?
absolutely. because it was written
I'm
down in the
just gonna-
5th and 6th century. Sorry, 500 and 600 AD, it was written down. The Oral Torah was written down. I'm talking about Jewish literature, written form.
Oh, that's what it was
I'm
written
not
down.
talking about
Yeah,
oral
yeah,
tradition.
Right.
I'm not
yeah.
talking about oral tradition.
Okay.
Written down. So in terms of Jewish literature, the New Testament predates the Talmud. The question that I had for you is, if you've ever searched the Tanakh to see if the Oral Torah or evidence of the Oral Torah given to Moses on Mount Sinai together is in there at all, in our Torah.
No, so I have not searched it, being that in the system that I am in, the Tanakh is not taught a lot,
Okay.
and a lot of people are not well versed. And
Oh.
the reason for it is because about, I think it was like the 1800s, in the times of the Maskilim, I don't know the English term for it, in the beginning of like the Reform movement
Yeah.
and the Conservative movement and things like that, they had people who were taking the Tanakh and they were reading it very deeply and they were translating it into their own ways, different than what we had traditionally and different what the Gemara had. So being that, we took it out of our system and we stopped learning it for that reason. So people, because it's given from God and it's so deep and there's so many secrets in it, it's very easy to translate it the wrong way while you're still thinking that it's the right way.
Yeah.
So we took it out of our system, and that's how the system where I come from was built up. So it is generally, when you're very little, you learn, you learn the Bible, you learn like the 5 books of, the 5 books of Chumash in the beginning, but the rest, the other 24 books, it's not part of the curriculum in general.
I get it.
And we don't go into it very deeply. If 100% guys, a lot of times, most people, they just later on in life, then they start learning the Tanakh on their own.
I see. But that's also a rabbinic
moves
tradition,
on.
though. That's what happened. So we're talking about oral traditions versus the written word. And so if we look through the Tanakh, we see that every time the Tanakh the Torah is mentioned, it's mentioned as the written word. When he's talking to Joshua, when he's talking to Moses, the words that I've commanded you, the words that you've written down, the words of this book.
Yeah.
There's never a mention of the words that I gave to Moses that are orally given. And so I'm just saying, check the Tanakh for evidence, and actually early Jewish literature for evidence of an oral Torah, because if you base your faith on something that you can't find, you would think it would be something that would be glaring. I need my people to follow the oral Torah, or else they have no bearing and no relationship with me. But you can't find it until after Christianity and develops and spreads worldwide.
Well, I'm saying when God commanded us to, follow him in his Torah, he also commanded us to follow the rabbis.
No, he didn't.
He did.
He said to follow the judges and the priests of the day.
The judges and the priests of the day.
Yeah, the rabbis were not given authority in the Tanakh. And the rabbis didn't come until later.
So I'm not well versed enough in the area to tell you where it says, but it says that you should also follow the rabbis, that basically I will make rabbis, or there will be rabbis that they will know what the will of God is and they will tell you,
Yes, which is also a later interpretation as well. But anyway, I appreciate your honesty, because there's also things that I don't know. You probably can say something about the Talmud that I'd be like, I've never heard that in my life. You know what I mean? So this is not so much about how much you know versus how much I know. This is about you sharing your opinion with me, and also me asking you if you know anything about Jesus, what you know about him, and the fact that he has been misinterpreted over the course of our Jewish people's history, and what he could possibly be representing.
Where you think that he was misinterpreted?
Absolutely.
Today,
like for instance, if you look at the prophets, like you look at Jeremiah and Isaiah and Ezekiel, Elijah, these guys were completely rejected. Even Elijah said, they've killed the prophets with the sword, and he's talking about our people. So the fact that the prophets were rejected, why are they accepted today? Like, why are they accepted today, but then they were rejected by the people then?
So it goes back to the same thing. It's all Masorah. It's the Masorah, the line that was given down. You have a direct, clear-cut line. I don't know the history, but there are plenty of people who could tell you the direct history
Yeah.
from their rabbi to the rabbi to the rabbi, all the way up to Moses.
Yeah.
And that is the foundation of Judaism.
But you can't- that's
you don't have
actually-
to find connections in the Tanakh and thing, because Tanakh is very deep. You could translate it to so many different things and you'll be so far off. So the main thing, and the Jewish people, that's why the ultra-religious reject reformism, conservatism, Zionism. It's a big thing because it's all new things that people try making, and they say, well, it makes so much sense, and I'll bring you this, verse from here that says this and that.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's
Yeah.
about direct Masorah, and that's the only reason why the Jewish people is still alive and here today, is because
Okay.
we have a direct Masorah, and we stick to that Masorah. The more we stick to that tradition,
Yeah.
without changing anything and just listening to the rabbis who have the tradition from their rabbi and their rabbi and their
So
rabbi,
we're putting our trust
we
in...
have a direct line
in-
from God, and that's the only reason why we
Okay.
survive, and that's the only truth.
So we're putting our faith ultimately in sinful men.
In sinful men, no, that's not no.
All humanity is sinful.
That's,
So even the rabbis that pass things down from generation to generation have sin on them. And Isaiah
Yeah,
says
because
that
they
our
are
sin
humans,
has separated
yes,
us from
yes.
our holy God.
they're
And
so, humans, yes, they have sin.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, do you trust
I wouldn't call them sinful men, but they have sin, yes.
once you put your trust or your authority in rabbis, the word of God loses its authority.
No,
It has
that's not
to.
at all. That's not
It
at all,
has to.
because so the word of God is something so big and high. It's something that I can't even begin to imagine.
Does it say that in Tanakh? That you can't understand it, you can't imagine it, you can't. You can't. God says, is it so far away that you can't reach it? Does it have to come down? It's something that we should be able to understand. He's given us his law,
No, it's not something we should be able to understand.
unless
Because
Messiah makes it
by
clear, maybe.
Mount Sinai, like for example,
Yeah.
when God gave the first 2 commandments directly himself, the Jewish people,
Yes.
everybody just died. And God had to, do C.S. Mason revive everybody and bring them back, because the word of God was just so holy, and hearing it from God directly was just
Is that
so
a-
much that everybody just,
is that in the
died.
Tanakh or is that in the Talmud, that story?
I am not sure.
I'm not either, because I haven't
Not
heard
sure.
that one. But what I'm saying is that if God gave his commandments and the people of Israel always strayed from God's commandments, and we have exiles, we have mass judgment upon our people for not being able to actually fulfill his commandments, we all act and live out of grace. We depend on God's grace. The question is, how does he provide that grace? He's given us a system called korbanot, offerings, guilt offerings, that we have to give to him so that we don't die. An innocent takes our place. It's called substitutionary atonement. Okay, like something innocent takes the place of us, and God's given that as a gift to us because he knows that we can't keep all of his commandments. So he gives us a way to be right with him once a year on Yom Kippur. But how long have we not been able to actually execute Yom Kippur according to the law of Moses?
So these days, being that we don't have the korbanot, we
Yeah.
have tefillah, prayer instead.
Right.
And that's why we have musaf on the holidays.
Yeah.
And we have the prayer.
And I respect
and
that, yeah.
And that is instead of doing the actual korbanos, because now we are in exile, and unfortunately.
I agree with that, and
can't
actually,
bring
I
korbanos.
actually respect that because you're turning your heart towards God. Absolutely, repentance is one, but there's nothing in Tanakh that says this is a substitution for that. Or when you don't have a temple, then you can do this.
Honestly, if
We're missing
if
something.
you go like that,
We're missing something.
if you go like that, you're right. Then you'll be missing a lot of things. If you
Yeah.
go like that, because Judaism is not based on logic. It's not about what this looks like, what this feels like, how I feel about this fitting into that. It's
Yeah.
not about that. You're right. You're 100% right.
Okay.
Because if you go that route, then 100% you'll be lost. You'll be missing tons of pieces, and you'll end up so far off the.
Yeah, but
the
as a follower of Yeshua, as a believer in the covenant that I believe that God gave through our Jewish people, that he actually is the one that was prophesied about in Isaiah 53, in Isaiah 9:6, in Zechariah 12:10, in Micah 5:2, in Daniel 7, in Daniel 9, and so on and so on and so on, that he actually fulfilled these prophecies, predicted his own death and resurrection, and then he actually rises from the grave as that atoning sacrifice, showing that he actually is God in the flesh. And by putting our faith in him, we have that forgiveness that we couldn't achieve through our own righteous or self-righteous works. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
No. So you could believe that all. I can't convince you not to believe it.
Likewise.
Do I believe in it? Not at all. I can't convince you because I know like next to nothing about Christianity at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you believe in all that and you accept all those things as fact, then you'll have questions because you take this idea and you believe in it and it doesn't fit with God and His Torah and whatever. You're missing other parts.
Right. Well, I want to share something with you, and I just want your opinion on how it sounds. For God so loved the world, not just the Jewish people, the world, that He gave His one and only Son, that whoever would believe in Him would not perish but have everlasting life. What kind of proposal does that sound like to you? A good proposal or a bad proposal?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. It was too like the English was dropped fancy, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Are you able to simplify it or drop like the?
What's that?
Are you able to simplify the term?
For God loved the world so much that He gave His only Son.
Okay, so God loved the world a lot, and He gave His only Son. Yeah.
Yeah. That whoever believes in Him, on the Son, will not perish, but have everlasting life. Because in the Tanakh it says the soul that sins will die. In the Tanakh it says your sin has separated you from your holy God. He will not hear you because of your sin. But yet He provided a way for us to be reconciled to Him, not through our righteous works or our self-righteous works, that I get there on my own strength, because He knows that we can. If you read the story of our own people, you'll see that they couldn't keep His commandments. And then for us to think that we can today is arrogant, in my opinion. Oh yeah, we can keep His commandments, yet we don't even have a Beit Mikdash.
Right, because God put us into exile.
Why?
Why? Because we have sinned, because of our sins.
Right, and we never stopped.
Yeah, and one of the main reasons was actually because of, sinas chinam, from hatred, hating your brothers.
Yeah, and I believe also hating the Messiah freely.
Well, who is the Messiah? I don't see any Messiah over here.
I know.
So which Messiah do we hate?
I know. The question is, from the Tanakh, what do we see as with regards to His role, the role of the Messiah? If the Messiah has any priestly function whatsoever, in terms of atonement, making a connection between man and God, if He has any role in that whatsoever, Jesus did that completely. He made the way.
So then how come we don't have the third temple now? When Messiah comes, then the third temple will be rebuilt.
Okay.
And Jesus is
I know that, and I've heard that before, but also there's nothing in Tanakh that says that when Messiah comes, all these things will be happening at once. There's nothing. And if we look at actually the stories of the Tanakh, we see a progressive opening and revelation of God to His people. That the priestly role has to be accomplished first. The sacrifice has to be accomplished first. The knowledge of Torah has come around to the world and back. Billions of Gentiles believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob because of the Jewish rabbi that came from Nazareth. And today, we see Jewish people in numbers coming to faith in Yeshua. So we have this reconciliation happening in the world over the course of time. And then we have the kingly role of the Messiah. That's why religious Judaism has Messiah ben Yosef and Messiah ben David.
So exactly, so it has a lot of key elements, some would want to say.
Yeah.
But it's missing the main fundamental Jewish element.
Which is?
Which is the Masorah. It's like literally like everything else is like literally means very little, because you could come up with so many different faiths.
You're right.
Offsprings and different interpretations.
Right. I agree with you.
So it may look like to a lot of people certain things like that, and that you know they can believe that. They're free to believe that.
I agree with that.
But
the question is does the Masorah make you right? The question I have about the Masorah, because you brought it up, is that does that make you right with God? And how much of it do you have to do? Because if there's 613, 48% of those were related to the temple, can't do them. Some of them are related to women, right? Can't do them. And also, as human beings, we fall short anyway.
Yeah.
So the question is not Masorah in terms of that. Do you believe that that's what makes us right with God, is Masorah? Because if we use that as our basis for being right with God, then
What's the uh-oh?
The is we've fallen short. So then, for instance,
so one second.
Yeah.
So we've fallen short.
Very short.
Let's say so we can't do some of the commandments because they're related to women. So you think God didn't know that when He gave us the commandments?
No.
He forgot.
We're not obligated to do those as men.
Right. So what's I'm not getting the issue.
the commandments that we're supposed to do, we say we have 613 commandments. That's what we say. There's no explicit number in the Tanakh, but that's the number that Judaism came up with. Okay, 613.
Yeah, the Rambam actually lists them all.
40, yeah, which is 1,200 years later. Okay, so
that could be.
yeah. What I'm saying is, what did they do before the 13 principles of faith? Anyway, the question I have about that is if we have the Mesorah and we have 613 commandments, because the temple was destroyed and we haven't had a temple for longer than we actually had one as a people. We've existed as a nation for longer without a temple. The question I have is, could there be something that happened in history that divided this, provided a solution for the fact that we don't have that?
No, because God, that's what God wanted. There's all part of God's plan of tikkun ha'olam. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Of
Fixing the world.
Yeah. So it's all part of God's plan, and He put us in exile for a reason. And the fact that you're right, we can't do a lot of the commandments that were related to the temple.
Yeah.
But we have to try to do as many commandments as we can that we could do in our day, and try to be as close as we can to God.
I agree.
And close as we can to also His Torah and mitzvahs. Another main fundamental in Judaism that I forgot about is about the Torah, right? God created the entire world from the Torah, right? Before there was nothing. God, I don't understand, all the it's very deep Kabbalistic things, but
right.
He took the hay and He created the whole world from that.
That's a mystical understanding, right?
The whole foundation of the world is based off the Torah. And He said, I will give you this Torah to guide you throughout life.
Your guidebook.
The Bible, right? I guess you guys call it the Old Testament? Tanakh.
Yeah.
So we have to try, even today, align ourselves as much as possible with the Tanakh.
I agree. What happens though if we can't? Because we can't. So I just want to give you an example.
As much as we can.
I want to give you an example. We have tons of laws within our society on how to operate legally in a society, function legally in a society. We have laws with regards to human interactions. We have laws regarding traffic and everything. If I keep most of them, am I still a lawbreaker?
Well, let's say some of them are not possible.
No, yeah, but that's a great point, actually.
If it's not possible.
But
let's say
my question is the ones that are possible. You don't keep all of them, he doesn't keep all of them, I don't keep all of them, she doesn't keep all of them. It's not possible to keep all of them, okay? The question is not, do we keep all of them or not? The question is, in terms of the legal system of the world that we live in, if I break laws, but I keep some, I'm still a lawbreaker. And if I'm caught, I pay a penalty.
Well,
God is the ultimate judge, sees everything that we do, knows that we can't fulfill His Torah, and even though we try, which is great, I totally am with you on that. We try, we fail. But there was one man who didn't fail. One man, sinless, did not fail. And he offered himself as the Korban, the pure,
he failed
righteous,
literally in the most biggest way possible.
Egregious way possible. How's that?
I can't give you a lot of background on it, and I know it sounds stupid because as I told you, I'm not well versed in it at all. But basically, he kind of went against God Himself, what we call a kaifer in Hebrew, because he came and he said that he is some sort of I don't know what you guys call it, but some sort of he is God. What did he say? That he's the son of God or something? He's
and son of man. Yeah, son of God and son of man. Yeah.
So that's there's no there's no makar for how do I say makar?
Well, let me ask you a question.
There's no source for that in the Torah at all, and he's just let me ask
you a question.
Made it up himself.
In Isaiah 9:6, it says, "For to us a son has been born, a son has been given, a son."
So Isaiah 9:6.
Yeah.
I don't know Isaiah 9:6.
No, it's okay.
You can tell me Isaiah 9:6. You can tell me how you translated it.
Yeah.
But
I can
my
show it
rabbis
to you in
probably
Hebrew.
translate it different.
I can show it to you in Hebrew from the
no, it could be.
Anyway,
you're right.
It's talking about a son called God, mighty God. And the government would be upon his shoulders. He'll be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
That's beautiful.
I'm not saying that that God offering his son, or him coming and saying, I'm the Son of Man, the Son of God, is a departure from the Tanakh. I'm saying that there's basis for it within the Tanakh.
So what does that verse mean? I don't know. Are there rabbis that know 100%?
Yeah, in the context.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
You can.
Yeah, it's called Chaim.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the New Testament before?
I have not.
No?
But can I just ask you one question now?
You can ask me 2 questions if you want.
So you believe in the Old Testament?
Absolutely.
So I'm saying, so you follow the commandments in the Old Testament?
As much as I can. But I also realized that they were fulfilled.
So you believe that all like what do you call it? All religious Christians should technically be wearing tzitzit?
No.
Strings? It's in the Old Testament, no?
No. No,
says,
but it's
we say it every day, twice a day actually, even 3 times.
Yeah, but
a day.
what you're saying is you're counting on your self-righteous acts to be right with God. You're putting that on, but missing others. So what makes this right?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Really?
If all the Christians believe in the Tanakh, said every day,
right?
But
what do you mean believe in the Tanakh? Do they find that it's fulfillment in Yeshua? Do they find that Yeshua didn't stray from Tanakh?
Vasulahem tzitzit.
Yes.
Make for yourself tzitzit. So we're it's
That's
totally fine. I was curious, what's your reasoning for not having tzitzit? Like, why do you guys not have it? I'm just curious.
That's a good question because in Jeremiah, in the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 31, it talks about God bringing a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not like the Sinai covenant. But that this Torah will be on our hearts, not on tablets of stone. We will be his people, he will be our God, and no longer will we teach another one to the other, know the Lord, for we will all know him. The world will know him from the least to the greatest. And this is the new covenant where God will forgive our iniquity and remember our sin no more.
So you're saying so the Old Testament is old. You don't.
The Old Testament is fulfilled.
It's fulfilled.
Yes. In Yeshua, in Jesus.
I'm not sure.
That he accomplished.
So he did all the mitzvahs for everybody. Tzavetz b'nei Yisrael, command the sons of Israel. Or Marta Lahem, Rasulahem tzitzis. So I didn't see anywhere that it says Jesus can be the whole B'nai Yisrael and wear tzitzis for them like all the time.
That's a great point though, because
I'm trying to understand.
No, it's a good point because according to him, he was the only one that actually could fulfill the law of Moses.
But it says the whole B'nai Yisrael.
Yeah, he was the representative of Israel.
But the whole thing, even if let's say if he's the representative, so him and the rest of B'nai Yisrael also, no?
What?
Should do tzitzis.
They should, but they failed and they broke God's bilateral covenant.
So that means that we should continue to fail?
No, it means
other
that you
people have failed, so we should continue to fail?
No.
I consider myself a B'nai Yisrael.
Right.
So I try to fulfill the Torah as much as possible.
I appreciate that, but you're considering yourself self-righteous.
I'm not considering myself self-righteous.
Yes, that you can make it.
I sin too often.
I know.
And I would try, I try to fix it as much as I can.
Yeah, but that you can make it on your own accord through fulfilling mitzvot, through a broken covenant.
Well,
would you say that the covenant that God made with Sinai and our people is a complete covenant or a broken covenant?
I think it's a complete covenant.
How? We don't even have a temple. We don't have a priest. We don't have sacrifices. We don't have the Levitical law that's actually been able to be...
Because God had put us into exile.
For what reason?
And he's waiting for us for Tikkun Olam. This is also
no, he
very
put us
deep
in exile because
thing.
we broke our covenant with him.
Right, because we have sinned.
Right.
And so therefore the world needs a tikkun, whatever that is supposed to mean. I don't understand it. My brain is too small to even try to understand that. But that doesn't mean that, therefore, since we have broken it, so like the whole thing is in the garbage. Yeah. God still has said that. That is the foundation of the whole world. Right. That is the only truth in the whole world. And that is, so therefore I could try to fulfill it as much as possible.
But what happens if you don't? You still rely on the grace of God, right?
We have to try to rectify as much as possible, you're right.
But we still fall short. There have been rabbis that have gone to their deathbed not knowing where they're going after they die.
That's true.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Because they held of themselves, they're so small against the power of God, against God himself, that no matter what they do is not enough.
So you could say that
these rabbis have lived extremely righteous lives and, followed as much as possible all the commandments of God, and, you know, study Torah the entire day, things like that. But they held themselves so little, like, who am I compared to God in the next world? You know, like, who knows where I'll end up? Although really they're 100 times greater than any of us.
So do you think that people are greater than other people based on how much they do?
Greater in
Status, stature,
in society or in God?
in God?
Yeah, I do believe.
Okay.
I mean, I believe, not sure exactly, I've never thought about that question, honestly, but I definitely believe that they have a higher standing in the world to come, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bro, we can go back and forth, but I'm really grateful that you took the time to talk with me. I appreciate you, and I thank you. And
Wait, so one second.
You have something else on your head.
What?
You have something else on your mind.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get the answers. Like, this is one thing that I never like understood about Christianity.
Yeah.
What happened to the Old Testament? I still didn't.
What happens to the Old Testament?
Yeah, I still didn't get the answer. I didn't understand.
The Old Testament shows us how God fulfilled his promises and how he brought his promises to fulfillment in the Messiah. And so by you're looking at the Tanakh as a law book. So what are you saying? What happened to the Tanakh? There's the Torah, there's the prophets, there's the writings, the Psalms, all the Tehillim, the Proverbs.
Right.
What do you mean? What happened to the Tanakh? The Tanakh isn't a law book. Tanakh is a narrative of our people that has laws in it.
Right. So what happened to those laws?
You tell me about what happened to those laws with our Jewish people. What happened to them?
Like,
they're gone.
What?
Some of them are still here.
Bringing the karbonos.
Oh, that's a huge part. I mean, how do you have atonement on Yom Kippur without it? How do we have national atonement without it? God gave it to us
because we do prayers instead, and that is like
there's no substitution for that in the Tanakh.
So, and also those things were obviously God was the will of God because He put us into the exile, and He, you know, said that you can't bring karbonos, but He never like took away all wool and said you can't make tzitzis.
I understand that. But if the general main purpose of the priestly system was to keep us connected and right with God, and that's no longer here, and the Tanakh never says when it's not here, you guys will be okay if you do this and that and the other thing.
So basically, at the end of the day, Jesus somehow fulfilled all the Old Testament.
Yes.
Gave us the New Testament.
Yes. And God, and He ushers in. Hold on a second. On Passover, this Jewish rabbi named Yeshua raised the cup here in Jerusalem, and he said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. When you drink this, do this in remembrance of me." And he went, he shed his blood for the sins of not just our Jewish people, but for the entire world. And those that put their faith and believe in him have that forgiveness and everlasting life. He ushered in that new covenant promised to us in Jeremiah 31. God promised us a new covenant, not like Sinai. How do you deal with that if God promises a new covenant?
I've never heard of that before in my life, so that's why I don't have to deal
Don't
with
believe
it,
me. Yeah. Don't believe me. Jeremiah 31. Just read the whole chapter. Anyway, thank you.
At the end of the day, it's all about the Masorah and the Torah.
Okay.
That's what keeps us together.
I love you, and I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, and I appreciate you. Do we have your permission to use this on our YouTube and media purposes?
Yeah, I guess. So I would take out maybe some channel information or things like that.
Yeah, of course, I'll give it to you.
All right, thank you.
Right on.